Zepbound weight stall and WEGOVY weight stall, why this is sabotaging your weight loss. Hi friends, I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I have lost over 90 pounds on GLP-1 medication over the last 17 full months, going on 18 months. And on today's episode, we're gonna talk about weight stalls. I started off on Mounjaro because of the Mounjaro shortage, moved to Zepbound because of the Zepbound shortage, have now moved to the Zepbound compound, Tirzepatide. And on today's episode, I want to dive in after having been on a weight stall for weeks and weeks and weeks. And viewers kept telling me, Elizabeth, you haven't lost any weight yet. I know, boo, I'm tracking just like you are. What is sabotaging, from my experience, strength, and hope? Again, I'm not a healthcare provider, simply my journey along the last 17 full months of hopefully to help encourage and educate from my perspective as a user of GLP-1 medication and with a really, really strong GLP-1 community of encouraging, smart, thoughtful counts and countesses and the Countess of Shopping community. Let's dive in. Why this is sabotaging your weight loss on WEGOVY, or if you're on compound or Zepbound. Same ball of wax. I want to first, before I dive into this, normalize weight stalls are normal. Let's say it again. Weight stalls are normal. And I know we come off of this huge peak. A lot of us do and some of us don't, because there are hypo-responders and hypo-responders, meaning slower losers in terms of weight loss. And so if you're in the hypo-responder category, we're going to get to that in a minute. But some people come off this huge weight loss like I did. I lost over 11, 12 pounds in the first week. It was nuts. A lot of it was water weight, poop. Like there's a lot. Like, don't judge that book by its cover. But a lot of us came off this huge number of weight loss the first few weeks. And then things started to shift. Now, having been 17 full months in, the last month I did not lose weight for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I walk into it of things I can control and things I can change and things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference in between that space. And for me, I can control the food that I eat and my physical activity, because the maker of Zepbound, Eli Lilly, tells us in our literature that we need to make permanent lifestyle changes on GLP-1 medication. And I'm sure Novo Nordisk says the same thing, as does compounds. And so making these changes, I have been actively working out. I have been eating healthier. I have been doing the controllables that I can do, but my body was holding on so tight. Also, there's been some stress. I think that that's a part of it too. We have a family member who's had colon cancer. It's been very stressful in my household. And so recognizing that, this was my picture that I took a couple days ago of weight stalls are going to happen. And so I want to encourage you, like I was encouraging myself, and the self-talk I was giving myself, of this is actually totally normal. I'm doing what I can to change it. I'm analyzing the things that I can control, but also the wisdom to know the difference that sometimes biologically weight stalls happen, and that we need to normalize that within the GLP-1 community. And I think erroneously, we come from these really, really high weight losses, and that momentum going down the hill is going to keep going like a snowball. And for some people it does, but for this turtle, it has not. And it's been very frustrating. And I say this often in my free encouragement group with thousands and thousands of amazing counts and countesses, which I'll link, as well, all of my free resources down in the description link below. Comparison is the thief of joy. And if you're comparing to other people's journey, even mine, that will mess with your brain. And I have it here too on YouTube. I watch. That's why people are like, oh, do you watch so-and-so in the GLP-1 community? No, I do not. Because it will mess with my mind for me to start comparing out. And so keeping that comparison is the thief of joy. Don't compare out things I can control and things I can't. But the main thing for me that I recognized this early on in my journey that was sabotaging me was relying only on the scale as a unit of measurement. And what I want to do in today's video is to change the conversation for weight stalls of different units of measurement within that as well. You need to change that, like not just the scale. So tip number one, photos. If you are not taking photos of your journey, I need you to. If you only want to be able to see them, you know what I mean? I have mine upload to my cloud. They're just for me. I don't share those with my husband, or they're just for me to see the progress. And it's been so eye-opening. Like looking at this photo, I'm like, oh my gosh, I look really, really different. And for me, that's motivating. That's really, really motivating of like, this is where I was, the scale's not moving, but look how far I've come. And so I want to encourage you, if you've not taken photos too, that's tip number one. Start taking photos I'm so glad I had them at the beginning of my journey, even though I was so embarrassed. I would not take photos. Or if I would strategically be like in 90210 when one of the, do you guys remember from the 90s, 90210? One of the people was pregnant, so they would strategically place big handbags over them while they were pregnant. And so I used to do that when I was obese, place like big plants in front of me and then be like, geez. Like, so I don't have very many photos. And so going through, I wish I had when I was morbidly obese, more photos to compare back on now. And so that's my encouragement for you. It's not a vanity thing. I think people misinterpret this as, oh, it's me being vain. It's not. It's me documenting for myself to be able to look back in the retrospective of, oh, I am making changes. Tip one, make photos. And by sabotaging yourself, if you're only relying on that scale number, because a lot can go into that scale number. And normalizing weight stalls are going to happen on this weight loss journey. It's going to happen. So recognizing that, realizing that, and rolling on with other solutions is imperative for me and hopefully for you with this video. Two, having an action level plan. For me, it was walking. I love walking Mr. Freddy. I could walk 1 mile. It was hard. It was difficult there. Being morbidly obese, like doing that, particularly if it was hot outside, was hard for me. It was hard for me. Even just finding pants to wear to go walk, like athletic, not shorts, because I don't wear shorts, but athletic pants to fit into workout, there was a whole mind effery with that. And so finding, and this is tip two, finding an activity level that you can measure that can grow. And for me, it was easy to do walking 1 mile around our loop. One loop is 1 mile. So I could do 1 loop or a loop and a half, and then 2 miles, and then now 3 miles. And I can do more. I choose to invest that time into lifting instead. So that's my tip number two for you is what action level can you start tracking progress? Is it weight training? Is it swimming? Is it one of our group members is tap dancing, which makes my heart so happy, like taking a dance class and being able to not get winded through like a tap dance sequence. Finding an activity level to start tracking growth with that, because a tracked number will grow. And you guys know I have a free tracker for side effects for GLP-1 medication. It's on countessshopping.com. It's also linked down in my description. Click that ... more button. You may have to click the more button twice to get all of my free links. But start tracking your side effects, as I always say, but more importantly, an activity level that you could track specifically of like, hey, and for me, I'm going to talk more about how I track that here in a minute, but with those specific activities. After my activity level, I have been trying, because you guys asked me to find a plant protein shake. I finally have one that I like to recommend. It's the Bioptimizer's Protein Breakthrough. Love it. We'll link it down below. You can use the discount code QUEEN. This video is not sponsored by Bioptimizers. I just love their stuff. I found that it's products that are clean and easy, and they react really well with my body, and I feel really good taking them, and it's made a difference in so many aspects. But after walking, for me, or after physical activity, having a protein shake, and this, I've started a plant-based one because you guys asked me, you're like, help me find a plant-based protein and shake. So that's been awesome. You can use the discount code QUEEN. It's chocolate, but they do have other collagen things that I've been putting in that I'll also link down below too. Number three, setting a goal to go do something physical at the beginning of your GLP-1 journey. For me, it's been horseback riding. I cannot get on a horse. Being morbidly obese, it wasn't safe for the horse. Being that weight, I could not. No one would let me get on a horse. Maybe a humongous Clydesdale, but I don't think so. Our goal is to go horseback riding as a family. My kid, somewhat, he rides, and I think he's going to be getting into more competitive riding. And so he really loves horses. And so for me, I'm at the barn. I love horses. I want to get more into that. And so that's always been our goal as our family. When I started GLP-1 medication, I didn't tell anybody, but secretly deep down, I was like, my activity level and goal that I want to do is to ride horses. So number three is pick a goal that you want to do that would be physically. So that's different than your activity level. Activity level for me, tip number two, was like walking on a daily basis or like every other day. This is a goal that maybe it's climbing a mountain, maybe it's something physically related that you can do. I was just going to say something naughty. I'm not going to say it, but being with your partner, enjoying, like there's certain things. I'm going to not go down that line. We're just going to pull that back in my mouth. We're not going to go down that thread, but having a goal that's physical that you can do that makes you really, really happy and excited and motivated. And for me, it's riding horses. I cannot wait to go to a dude ranch. We're going to go to a dude ranch. We haven't booked it yet. The day that I book that, I will just weep. You guys will hear all about it. But having these other metrics besides the scale to get excited about, because ultimately at the end of the day, isn't this about getting our lives back? Taking Mounjaro, WEGOVY, Zepbound, Ozempic, semaglutide, Tirzepatide, isn't it about getting our lives back? So why not make our lives the most enriched that they can in a physical way? Tip number 4, not tracking with the scale. Now, you guys know I absolutely have on my Amazon shopping list, which is linked down below, my scale that I love, because there's one app you can have on your phone and it will sync all of these different metrics of data, because I hate having app clutter. You put the one app on your phone, and then the scale will sync to that. You can have different users. So if you and your partner want, you can have different users on there. You don't need to buy like 5 scales. And then the tape measure is another unit that you can have on here. And they're slightly different now. I think they've changed the packaging on them, but you can use these to measure your arms, your thighs, your waist, your hips. Like, someone was measuring their wrists, which I thought was really clever. I was like, oh, I love that. Measuring these different units with a smart tape measure. And I used to use a tape measure, and you totally can, but it's like 20, 25 bucks, somewhere in that ballpark, to have it synced to my phone. So I don't have paper, notebook paper. I'm a very tactile person, but having it in my phone to be able to pull up that data, way easier to read. They do also have, so you have the scale, which I'm saying try to get away from that, or use that as, some people that's very motivating too, but when hitting a weight stall, it's easy to look back at these and be like, oh my gosh, look how many inches I've lost. That is helpful. But they also have the syncing blood pressure cuff to go with it. That is also super, super helpful. And I had it up here. They have a food scale that syncs too, that you can track your food with. I have not, I bought it. One of our group members was talking about it, and I need to get more up to speed on the food scale component of it. It's different than the weight scale. It's an actual food scale that will sync into your phone too. So they've got several options. I love these. I love these, and I love that it's one app on my phone. So having a different metric to see your progress, very, very helpful. Tip number, where were we? That was tip number 4. Tip number 5, pant sizes. Obviously, like keeping track of my pants and then putting my pants when I was this size to the pants when I'm this size, having them side by side. I'm like, oh my word. It's a visual representation. I had been keeping each size, and then I was like, I don't want the clutter. So I think I may have donated all of them. So now it's just my first size and then my size now. And that's very motivating too. So using clothes, finding some pants or a dress or a unit of clothes that you can go back to, I feel like is very helpful. And for me it is. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, wow, this is so motivating. This shirt, for example, I could not fit into it several months ago. It was too tight. It still is somewhat tight. Let's just keep it real here. It's somewhat tight, but it's less tight, which, by the way, everybody had, not everybody, some people have been following my Gucci saga. They had changed their creative director, so thus their sizing has changed. It's significantly even smaller than it already was, which is crazy. Anyways, just FYI, if you're, for my Gucci lovers out there, the creative director changed the sample sizing cuts, the way that the clothes cut. Anyways, that's a topic for another day. Let's keep going. That was tip number 5. Tip number 6, Aura data. So I use the Aura ring. Sometimes you guys see me wearing it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get tired. I need to motivate myself, and sometimes I just don't want to look at the data or track it, but I am in my Aura loving era right now, because I can see in my phone sleep, my blood pressure, not my blood pressure, but the beats per minute. But the sleep, I think, is the most important. It tells me my stress levels, my recovery levels, how my body's feeling. On my Amazon shopping list, I've got the Aura ring listed down there too. I highly recommend having one. Now, I used to use a Fitbit, but I was allergic. I'm not allergic to really anything, but the Fitbit bands would cause me to have a weird rash, which is why I went to the Aura ring. And you can get them in other colors. I have mine in black, but you can get them in like gold or silver or rose gold, or there's lots of other colors besides this color. Having that sleep data and more of a broad picture, it also tracks fertility too, by the way, but it's another unit of measurement. I can see my steps going back to the walking component. I can set activity goals and it tracks in there. Very, very helpful too. So that I highly, highly recommend. Tip 6. Tip number 7, relying on a family member or friends, which can get dicey, but to also give encouragement. My husband yesterday, I was wearing, if you guys saw in the video, either it's come out or it's coming out, me in like an orangish reddish top. I walked by and my husband's like, babe, like was catcalling me. I was like, oh, you little minx. But he's like, you look really good today. Like you look svelte. And I can tell when my husband's not lying, but being very generous with his compliments versus being like sincerely, and he was being sincerely complimentary. And so having family or friends also kind of, not that I'm soliciting that, but when they do give it, it also is a reminder of like, oh yeah, I have moved the needle, right? It's very, very helpful. And along those lines too, I want to go back over, I didn't say this in the photos. I have started to, well, last year I did. I went to the pool for the first time. And I did take some bathing suit photos, but I got so embarrassed I never showed them. And so, and I don't know, maybe I'll show them this year. But this year I do plan to take some photos of me in my bathing suit. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But one of the things I wanted to share, if you're wearing shorts, bathing suits, or somewhat embarrassed about it, I'm trying not to be embarrassed. I'm trying to embrace my body. I'm working with a therapist on this very much because there's a lot of tapes to unravel and like untanglings of unhealthy things that I'm still working on with a therapist to help me on that. But I have been loving its leg and body makeup, Dermablend. This is also on my Amazon shopping list too. It has SPF 25. It's helpful for if you are doing pictures or you're wearing a particular outfit, or if you're using different representations besides a scale, having clothing and things like that. For me, it's a confidence boost. And yes, can I airbrush out like the varicose veins and the cellulite and the dimpling and all that? This is nice. It just makes a nice smooth, it's nice and smooth. You can get different colors with it too. Just make sure you're matching the color shade properly. But that is another thing that's been very helpful for me that I wanted to recommend too, of if you're gonna be going out and it's summertime now and out a bunch and not wearing like long pants and jeans. I still wear jeans most of the time. I aspire to get into not wearing jeans. I'm getting there. I bought a bunch of shorts from Amazon, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I wanted to share this video with you because I noticed in my free group, which is linked in the description link below, people talking about, I've been at a weight stall. I've been at a weight stall for 2 weeks. And I'm like, that's really not, like, I understand the pain of that and I can empathize with that. Trust me, I know more than anybody else, understanding being like weeks in and being like, what is going on? But 2 weeks even, I don't even necessarily think is a weight stall. I think getting into 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And so for some people, this is the other big thing. And so if you stay till the end, you get a little bonus tip. I'm at the highest possible dose. Zepbound 15 milligrams before I switched to compound because of the Zepbound shortage, but I'm at the highest possible dose for compound and for Zepbound. There's nowhere else for me to go. If you're finding that you have a weight stall, talk to your healthcare provider about titrating up. You guys know I'm the first to say, and you can see me, like, so many people have copied my thought process on this from 17 months ago, but of not titrating up quickly, of going at a slower titration. I wish I had titrated slower. It's a big regret of mine. And so my point for you of why I'm saying that is if you are titrating up slowly, so when you do get into these pockets of where it's not 2 weeks, but it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or whatever, tell your healthcare provider, maybe that is the time to titrate up. Now, I don't have that option. At this point, I would have titrated up. I'd be like, please move me to the next level because the food chatter's back, appetite suppression is lessened, like it's not like it once was. And so I want to encourage you that if you do have room to go, that's where you and your healthcare provider, not anyone else, like being very clear on that. That's a dialogue between you and your healthcare provider. Of where you feel comfortable, where they feel comfortable, and having up-to-date blood panels. That is one of the other things I think is a lacking conversation for people is, well, when was your last blood panel? Are your blood, is all that normal, air quotes, so to speak? Like, are you where you should be? And that's what, if you haven't had a blood panel done recently, talk to your healthcare provider about that too. I think that's really important. We need to be having ongoing testing, dialogue, stuff changes. You know how many people in my free encouragement group have gotten off blood pressure medication, changed their insulin? I mean, a lot of medication changes as a result of GLP-1 medication. So keeping that in mind too, I think is really, really important that you need to be up to date on your blood results because you may need to reduce your medication that you're on. And maybe that's, I don't know. Like that's, I'm not a healthcare provider. That's why I'm always punting you back to your healthcare provider. But I think it's really, really important to be having those dialogues as well. And on weight stalls, we've talked about this in other videos, but staying satiated, staying fuller. GLP-1 medication helps us, but having adequate protein, which I go back to, one of the reasons why I was seeking out a plant-based protein because you guys asked me about it, and why I'm really loving. So all of the things that I talked about, all of my free resources and my Amazon Zepbound shopping list linked down in the description link below. Click that ... more button. Two things. One, your accountability question today, not mañana, today. What are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? What is that? Tell me in the it's your accountability question. Tell me in the comments. If you're running or if you're on the treadmill or if you're working out while listening to this video, first and foremost, pat yourself on the back and give yourself a big high five. You have permission not, but I would like you to come back later and tell me. And then number two, our emoji for today is going to be a scale. It's going to be a scale. And that tells me, people are like, why do you do an emoji? It's like my bat signal. So I know you. I know that if you've made it this far in my content, that means you probably like it. So therefore, I want to get to know you better because I care. So our emoji of the day is going to be a scale. The part two of that is I will pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplift you in positive thought. It's an easy way for me to have an uplifting space too. And that's fun. That's fun. Sweet friends, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. You're going to push past this weight stall. I am not special. I'm really not special. And so if I can do it, I want to encourage you. You can do it too. So I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow with tomorrow's video. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. Love y'all. Bye.